Hi guys, and welcome back to another QR Code Showcase episode. So this is episode number 3. This week we've kind of trialed this new series. We did Monday, Wednesday, and we're finishing off today, Friday, with just to see how you guys, if you're going to enjoy this sort of thing, just broaden the options I've got to showcase Pokemon and certain things like that, and just take advantage of the QR facility on the Global Link website. So we're going to finish off today with the team that we've been running this week, and it seems like you guys are enjoying that sort of thing, and I've got a few suggestions for teams to look for next week. So I've already kind of picked one out that we'll start off on Monday with, so keep an eye out for that. Obviously subscribe to the channel and you'll get the notification for when that goes live on Monday. So without further ado, we will just jump on to the Battle Spot ladder and see how we get on with this team. I've really enjoyed playing with this team. It's kind of nice playing with other little, well, you know, someone else has built this team, and it's nice kind of just getting a small idea of the concept of the team and how it works. We haven't used the Mandibuzz yet, so hopefully you can feature that today. That would be really nice. And straight away we've got our first opponent with a team of Golduck, Pelipper, Hariyama, Tapu Koko, Kartana, and Porygon 2. So he has got a weather mode in there with the Double Ducks, Tapu Koko and Kartana with a speed mode, and then we have Hariyama with that fake out support with the Porygon 2 that can set up a Trick Room, and it's got that mode of speed control. So here I think what I'm going to do is lead with my Tapu Lele, and I don't want to lead my Arcanine just in case the Double Ducks comes out, but it might be. Let's have a quick look at this Kartana, see what speed it'll be hitting. Okay, so we can't see on level 50, so that's going to be a bit. Kartana might not be a bad option though, to be honest. So I think I will go Kartana, and Mandibuzz might not be a bad option either, because then I can go for a Tailwind to match the Pelipper's Tailwind. Yeah. And it doesn't do too bad a job against Porygon 2. So we will bring the Mandibuzz. I am going to bring my Garchomp, and I think I'll bring Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko would be really nice here, to be honest. But yeah, and I am going to just bring Tapu Koko. So we'll go with these 4 and see how we get on. So yeah, like I was saying, we haven't featured the Mandibuzz at all this week, but we are featuring it now. And there's just so much variety to the team. It's so offensive as well. So hopefully we can kind of play to the team's strengths and get some good results out today. But yeah, if you have any suggestions or would like to see certain teams used on this series, just mention them in the comments below, and I can always kind of keep them in mind for when I'm looking through QR codes in the future to feature on the channel. So my opponent is going to lead off with Pelipper and Golduck, so we have to be quite careful of the Golduck firing off potentially a the Hydro Vortex, the Water Z move. But what I might do is just go for a Leaf Blade into the Golduck with my Kartana, and go for a Tailwind with my Mandibuzz. Because I would imagine the Pelipper will probably go for a Tailwind as well this turn. But we do see my opponent switch out his Golduck into the Kartana, which will take our Leaf Blade quite nicely, and we'll probably see possibly a Tailwind come out from my opponent's Pelipper. Yeah, and we'll match that with our Mandibuzz. So that's not too bad. Now, let's think what we can do. We have to be aware that that Pelipper is probably sashed as well, so we're going to have to probably double up into that to get rid of it. But, and I am locked into Leaf Blade, so I can't really hit the Kartana too hard at all. So I think here, let me think. Let's see what options I've got. I could bring in my Tapu Koko, which I'm quite tempted to do, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to bring in my Tapu Koko here, and I'm going to go for a... I'm just going to go for a Snarl. It's not going to be doing much to that Kartana, but it will break the sash on that Pelipper and just set us up going forward in the match as well. So we bring in Tapu Koko for our Kartana. Hopefully we see a Sacred Sword come on to that slot. That would be great. We do see a Sacred Sword, and it is onto the Tapu Koko, so we will take that quite nicely. And we see a Hurricane from the Pelipper. Again, Tapu Koko will resist this, so it should be able to take this alright. And we will get a Snorlax with our Mandibuzz. So, break that potential sash on the Pelipper. And now we should be outspeeding both of my opponent's Pokemon with our Tapu Koko. So what I think I will do here is... So I could go for a Discharge and then bring in my Garchomp for my Mandibuzz. Or I could go for a Volt Switch. Or a T-Bolt onto the Kartana. But I think I'm just going to go for a Discharge. And I'm going to bring in my Garchomp for my Mandibuzz. So we see my opponent withdraw his Pelipper, bring in his Tapu Koko. And because we are specs, we should definitely pick up the KO on that Kartana. Unless it's really super bulky with the Assault Vest. Get the Discharge off. Garchomp isn't affected by it because of its Garn typing. And yeah, I'd imagine that is a Assault Vested Kartana. It will unfortunately pick up the KO onto my Tapu Koko. And receive a Beast Boost in the process. So what are we going to do now? I'm going to bring in my Kartana, because we will be outspeeding both my opponent's Pokemon. And we will be able to pick up the KO onto my opponent's Kartana. So I will just go for the Sacred Sword onto the Kartana, and I think, rather than go for the Tectonic Rage onto the Tapu Koko, because the Pelipper could come in on that slot, potentially, if my opponent kind of reads it into that. So I'm just going to go for a Poison Jab, which should be enough to pick up the KO onto the Tapu Koko regardless. And we're not in too much danger. We've got to be aware though that Tapu Koko could have the Twinkle Tackle, which probably would be able to take out my Garchomp. But because we've got the Scarf with the Kartana, we're putting on a lot more pressure with ours, so kind of force my opponent to make different moves. So we see the Tapu Koko protect, the Pelipper switch in for the Kartana, so we'll be able to take this Sacred Sword quite easily. Yeah, it does do a bit of damage, but not enough, unfortunately. So Tailwinds do run out here. And does the Garchomp have Rock Slide? It doesn't, but it does have Dragon Claw. So I think what I'll do is double in to the Pelipper here, just to stop another Tailwind going up. So we may see a Dazzling Gleam come up from the Tapu Koko, but I just want to kind of prioritize getting rid of that Pelipper, and a Sacred Sword and a Dragon Claw should be enough to kind of pick up the KO there. It would put us in a bad position if another Tailwind does get set up. So we see my opponent switch out the Tapu Koko for his Kartana. I imagine he is probably going for a Tailwind, but if we can prevent that getting set up, that'll be amazing. We see the Dragon Claw come up from Garchomp, and it is just enough to pick up the KO on the Pelipper. So we're not going to see another Tailwind set up, and the rain stops, which is huge for us going forward for that Golduck coming back in to threaten our Garchomp. So my opponent brings in his Tapu Koko. And what I'm going to do here is go for a Sacred Sword onto the Kartana, and I'm going to go for a Tectonic Rage onto the Tapu Koko, because even if it protects, it should be doing enough damage to at least put it into KO range from a Sacred Sword. We do get the Sacred Sword off onto the opposing Kartana, pick up the KO, get a Beast Boost, and we will get the Tectonic Rage onto the Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is going for a Dazzling Gleam, so it will do a bit of chip damage to the Kartana, a good chunk to the Garchomp, but we will return with a Tectonic Rage and pick up a KO onto the Koko. And then all we've got is the Golduck to worry about, so we should be able to deal with that quite easily, and that should be game. So not a bad start. Tectonic Rage is a bit over the top here, but this will take care of the Tapu Koko. And really, the Scoff Katana's put in so much work this match, so it just shows how good it can be. It's just putting on the pressure. It's just kind of putting it in the position where you can take advantage of that Scoff as well. So we've just got this Gold Duck now to deal with. I'm locked into Sacred Sword, so I will have to go for that. I will go Sacred Sword and I will go Dragon Claw, and that should be enough to pick up the win here on my opponent. To get the Sacred Sword off, we have got the Beast Boost as well, so we're doing a bit more damage. Take it right down to about 10% health, and the Dragon Claw will pick up the Chaos. So, good games to my opponent there, and that was a nice win and start to the episode. I would suggest, guys, if you're new to VGC or anything like that, struggling, this is a nice team to kind of get yourself adjusted with. Just, you know, pick up the team and get battling, just practicing, because that's all it is when you first start playing. It is all about practicing, practice, and just play as many games as you can. And so the link for this team, you'll be able to find it on the Global Link website anyway, but if you want to just make it a bit easier for yourselves, just check out the description of this video and you'll find it in there. So we will go quickly into our next game. I will put the League Title Defense music on because I quite like that, and we'll see how we get on in our last match of this little part of the series with this team. So as I said earlier, we won't be using this team next week. We will pick a new QR code team to take into next week in feature. So as I say, we have had a few suggestions, so I've taken those on board and I've picked something kind of going off those suggestions that have come up. So hopefully it'll be more beneficial for you guys. It'll give you something different to look at and see. It's a completely different team to this, so it'll be a nice kind of bounce off from this team to that one. Anyway, we've got our next opponent from Italy, and they are running a team of Porygon 2, Arachnoid, Alolan Marowak, Tapu Bulu, Nihilego, and Gigalith. So we definitely have a clear Trick Room team here. Both the Nihilego and the Porygon 2 can be your Trick Room setters. We've got the Tapu Bulu for the grassy terrain, and then we've got our Trick Room sweepers in primarily, I would say, the Arachnoid and the Gigalith that could bring the weather, and the Marowak as well. That's going to stop us being able to just spam the electric attack type attacks with our Tapu Koko. So what are we going to go for here? We do probably need to lead with the Lele because of the taunt we've got to help us shut down the Porygon 2, and if that Nihilego comes out, I do want to be able to kind of put a lot of pressure on that straight away, so I am going to lead off with my Kartana. My opponent doesn't really have any fire type attackers in the team apart from the Marowak, so other than that we don't need to worry too much. I think let's think what else we could bring here. Might be nice. I think Intimidate would be good, but obviously the Nihilego and the Gigalith put a lot of pressure onto that, but it might be worth just bringing the Garchomp just in case. So we'll go with those four and see how we get on. Main priority is stopping that Trick Room. If we can stop my opponent getting the Trick Room up, then we are looking a lot better going forward in the matches. So at least we've got something to kind of aim for to begin with. But we'll see what my opponent leads off with here. We're going to lead off with our Tapu Lele and Kartana, and my opponent is leading with his Tapu Bulu and Nihilego. So let's think what we can do here. I've got a horrible feeling that Nihilego probably it does learn Trick Room, and it's not obvious that it would Trick Room, but I wonder if my opponent is using it as a different Trick Room setter to the Porygon 2. Now I could just double into it, to be honest. I could just Psychic into it and Smart Strike into it. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to double into the Nihilego, because if it does go for Trick Room, it will be moving last because of the low priority that the Trick Room has. You see the Tapu Bulu Protect here. Get the Smart Strike off with our Kartana and potentially take it down to its Sash. Yeah, it's sashed. And let's see what this Nihilego is going to go for. Nihilego actually just goes for straight up for a Sludge Bomb onto the Lele. But we do survive on 1 HP somehow, luckily, and managed to pick up a KO onto the Nihilego. So That puts us in a nice position. I don't know if that was a specific damage count from the spread of this Tapu Lele, but it's done a job there, so that's quite nice. So I think what I'll do now is bring in my Arcanine just to get off and Intimidate onto the Bulu, and which works out nice to get an Intimidate off onto the Marowak as well. And we're also putting a lot of pressure onto the Tapu Bulu with the Arcanine as well at the same time. So get the Intimidate off there. We've got to be careful because our Kartana is now threatened very heavily from this Marowak. But we can switch that into the Garchomp. So what I might do here... I'd expect the Tapu Bulu to switch out and maybe the either the Arachnoid or the Gigalith to come in. So I could double up on it onto that slot, but potentially I would lose my... Yeah, I'm gonna just go for a Flare Blitz and switch into my Garchomp here. Because I could potentially double up into the Bulu, but it's likely that it will just switch and then the Marowak's free just to pick up the KO onto the Kartana. It's not putting me in a great position going forward. We do get the Flare Blitz off onto the Tapu Bulu though. There's no switching there. We don't pick up the KO unfortunately. And the Tapu Bulu goes for the Leech Seed but misses. So that's super unfortunate for my opponent. And we see a Shadow Bone come out from the Marowak onto the Garchomp. Right, now we're in a really nice position now because we've got the Tectonic Rage that we can just target down onto the Marowak, and we can pick up a KO onto the Tapu Bulu with our Arcanine as well. So we're not sitting in the worst position here. So I'll go for another Flare Blitz into the Tapu Bulu, and I will go for a Tectonic Rage into the Marowak this turn. So likelihood the Marowak could protect as it does, but at least we'll be getting some damage off onto it either way, so... And we should pick up the KO onto the Tapu Bulu with the Arcanine in the process here. We didn't see a Protect come out from the Bulu, and we will move before it. So Tectonic Rage is going to come out onto the Marowak. It's a bit of a waste to be honest, but at least we're starting to chip it down. And does not too bad damage. It's definitely an Earthquake damage, another Earthquake spread damage, as long as this grassy terrain is cleared off the field in the next couple of turns. And the Arcanine gets a Flare Blitz onto the Bulu and picks up the KO. We will restore a little bit of health back with both our Pokemon, as well as the Marowak will with this grassy terrain being present on the field, which I don't mind too much at all. And then we'll have a look at what my opponent's last Pokemon is. So I wonder if... and it is the Porygon 2. Okay. So Garchomp is heavily threatened here by the Porygon 2. And we can't freely just Earthquake either because we're not in the best position at all. My opponent can just set up that Trick Room. Which I think it might do this turn. So is it worth me? We don't have Snarl or any other option there. What if I switch in my Kartana and then just go for an Earthquake? But the Earthquake's not going to be doing as much damage, is it? So I might have to just go for... Yeah, I'm just going to have to go for a Dragon Claw onto the Marowak. But my opponent here is quite able just to set up the Trick Room and then start putting a lot of pressure on that way. So we get the Dragon Claw off. We don't see any Protect come out from the Marowak or attempts. See Boomerang come off on to the Kartana. Gets a critical hit, doing big damage. So it takes us down to about 50% health, and we see a Trick Room from the Porygon 2. So now we've got to try and stall ourselves out of the Trick Room, and it's going to be extremely difficult, especially with that grassy terrain up, because the grassy terrain at the moment is making our lives quite difficult for getting an Earthquake off onto that Marowak, and we can't I think for the Porygon 2 as well, we really need to try and keep our Cortana around. But I don't really feel like we've got enough to kind of stall out the Trick Room at this point. So what are we going to do? I can't protect with my Cortana, so I think what I'll do is switch in my Cortana for my Arcanine, get another Intimidate off onto that Marowak, and I'm just going to protect my Garchomp here. We'll see what my opponent goes for. Hopefully he goes for the Ice Beam into the Garchomp and possibly a Flare Blitz into the Arcanine. But we'll see what my opponent chooses to do. So we get the Protect off with Garchomp. Marowak goes for the Shadow Bone, and that is into the Arcanine. So we'll do a bit of damage, and we see an Ice Beam come off onto the Garchomp from the Porygon 2. Again, we'll restore a bit of health back with the grassy terrain, but we're in a terrible position at the minute because I would imagine the Boomerang will be able to pick up the KO onto the Arcanine. We don't have much to... I don't think the Garchomp can survive an Ice Beam from the Porygon 2 either, to be honest. Oh, we're a bit locked into... All I can do really is go for a Flare Blitz onto the Porygon 2 and an Earthquake, and just hope somehow we survive with the Garchomp. We're pretty locked in. Arcanine actually avoids the Boomerang from the Marowak. We do unfortunately take an Ice Beam, and Garchomp does go down. And we will get a Flare Blitz off, but it's not going to do very much damage to this bulky Porygon 2. And I think this is game. We can't really stall out. We've got no Protect on either Arcanine or Cortana to kind of take advantage of. And I think that's one of the problems that you face when you use a lot of choice items and things like Assault Vest, where you can't have the option. Well, you can have the option, but you don't tend to have the option to have Protect. I said at the start of the game it was kind of a priority to stop the Trick Room getting set up. My opponent played it very well and left the Trick Room till the later part of the game, so clearing out my kind of the techs I had to prevent the Trick Room, and he brought it late game when those techs had gone, so it was easy for him to set up, and you've seen how quite easily it has been for my opponent just to sweep through the team once the Trick Room has been set up. So we'll just lock in with an Extreme Speed and go for a Sacred Sword onto the Porygon 2 because there's not really much else we can do. The Cortana will go down to an Ice Beam or... Yeah, so we see Shadow Bone from the Marowak picking up the KO onto the Arcanine, and a Shadow Ball from the Porygon 2, which again will be enough to pick up the KO onto the Cortana. So... good games, my opponent. Well played, and that's all it was really. Not because you kind of, I don't know if it's just myself, but a lot of the time you kind of expect your opponent to almost lead with their Trick Room mod to start with, and it's not a set in stone thing. So don't get yourself like caught up in that kind of thought process, because it will cost you, like it's cost me there. The Trick Room mod, the latter parts of the game, when you have nothing to kind of counteract the Trick Room, and then you're stuck with a bunch of Pokemon that can't protect, that Trick Room gets set up, then it's just devastating. And you saw how much damage the Marowak was doing even after 2 Intimidates. It's just destructive under a Trick Room. In that sort of situation, you can really take advantage of it, and it shows as well how powerful Porygon 2 is as a Trick Room's there. So with that, guys, I'll not go on anymore. Just food for thought and things to think about when you're actually going into games. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode of our QR Showcase series. If you have enjoyed the episode, guys, leave a like. If you've got any questions or comments about the team or anything to do with the episode, leave them in the comment section below. I will get back to you, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have a lot going on over the next 2 weeks. Starting Monday, we've got a team review episode with a brand new team that we're going to be featuring on our School of Hard Knocks series, so that will follow with the new team, and then we'll have a new QR code team to feature as well on the channel. So there'll be 3 separate episodes coming out on Monday, so subscribe to the channel, you'll get all the goodies and updates for when they come out. And yeah, that's about it. And then we have the international challenge next week, which registration has opened on the global links. If you want to participate in that, go there and register. It'll be a super fun tournament, 15 battles per day, and you can earn championship points from it. So I'll leave a link to that as well in the description below. So guys, without further ado, I will let you go and I'll let you enjoy your weekend. So thanks for watching as always, guys. I really appreciate all the support and comments and everything like that. It's great interacting with you guys, so just do it a bit more often. And I don't really have much else to say. Just enjoy your weekends, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week. So until then, guys, bye bye.